In this week's About Your Retirement, we have a viewer question, so here we go. Jim, you've been talking about planning our retirement. You mentioned some retirees experience a downside to their retirement. So what are those possible downsides?
Well, great question, and we get different forms of this question throughout the year. And obviously, the first thing that people consider is the financial part. That can be a downside if they realize they don't have enough money to retire on. But more importantly, there are some other considerations that I mention consistently on this program that people need to really consider, because retirement's going to be a major change. It's another phase of life, and so you have to consider retirement and how is it going to impact me mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all these things combined. A CPA, a financial advisor, can help you with all the financial, but these other things are psychological and they need to be considered, and as part of your plan, you've got to have a great plan. I always encourage people to at least start that plan 5 years in advance, and then they may do some modifications, things like that. But one of the biggest downsides that I hear people talk about is trying to decide, where am I going to live after retirement? And so there's 3 questions you can ask yourself, and the first one is, do I remain in my home as is? Now, that question, if you live, some people live in a 4,000 square foot house. There may only be 1 person or 2 people there now. And so they may need to decide, well, can I survive with half of this footage and be comfortable and happy and save half that expense? And so, but some people are so emotionally attached to the home. This is where I raised my kids. This is my neighborhood. It's a great location. And they're just not ready to do that. And so make an assessment of the home. Sometimes you can just do some easy little modifications for the future. The second question, move to a retirement community. That's going to always be an option and may be a great fit. I encourage people to really sit down and compute. How much do I spend in home ownership as compared to what will I spend just writing 1 monthly check to a retirement community and not have all that responsibility? And in my resource guide I wrote several years ago, I have a comparison computation sheet that people can pick up a free copy and use in their research at Wellington Park. The third question that you want to ask yourself, if I'm going to remain in my home, what are some functional renovations that I should do? And those obviously you want to be things that will not impact the resale of the home negatively, and most things like increasing a huge shower, things that are going to help prevent the slip and fall, trip and fall issues that I talk about on the program over and over again. These are all things to consider. Good questions. We can help you.
Hey, we can help you. Keep on sending those viewer questions in. And don't forget, you can get more retirement advice on Jim's other show. Watch Baby Boomers in action every weekend on News 9 and News 9 Plus. And for more information, visit news9.com/retirement.